Hey guys, it's Julie Malillo, life coach in Manhattan. My website is yourdreamslifecoach.com. I'm going to talk about some tiny signs of narcissism. These are tips that I personally use. This is not like a proper diagnosis. If you want a proper diagnosis, you have to bring this person into a therapist, pay for the session, and have them diagnosed. Likely, if you're like swiping on Tinder, you're probably not going to bring that person in to a therapy session and pay for it, because that would be super weird, right? I get asked this all the time. People tell me, like, how do you know? How did you pick up on it? And I see stuff in the dating apps like Bumble, Tinder, small things that people put in their profiles say a lot. By the way, I'm very lucky that this isn't my clients. My clients are super emotionally healthy, because you have to be emotionally healthy to have coaching work. You always want to look for a cluster of things, not just one, because there could be all kinds of reasons that someone said one weird thing. But if they have like 10 signs or a bunch of signs, that's when I really start to get out of there real quick. When people say one thing over another, tacos over burgers, narcissists see the world in terms of black and white, good and bad, winner, loser. Healthy people see the world in terms of gray. So it's really like a different planet that you're on. So when a narcissist says tacos over hamburgers, I'm thinking, like, what do you have against hamburgers? Why are you bringing hamburgers into this? This is about tacos, right? You like tacos. Cool. Case closed. Like, why do you have to put down another food or another kind of music or whatever? Well, this is why narcissists have to put everything down: people, objects, preferences, vanilla over strawberry. And like, they're serious. They're not joking. Valuing that thing. Well, tacos are up here, hamburgers are down there, so you suck. I'm looking down my nose at you. That's what narcissists do. They divide everything into winner, loser, black, white, and then they devalue the loser. So that is one clue. When someone is constantly telling you one thing is better than the other. Another way that they do it is they will use the word good. I only go to good restaurants. I only go to good bars. I only listen to good music. Good. So what do you consider bad? There's no objective standard. These are personal preferences. It's like an ice cream flavor that you like. So this is one of the distorted things that narcissists do. They take their own personal preference and then they think that that's an objective fact. They confuse facts for their own personal, like, ice cream flavor. And it's partly projection and partly just that their thinking is so messed up and partly that they need to feel superior. So all that stuff spits out a person who's going to be saying ridiculous things to you, like, well, there are good brunch places and bad brunch places. And, well, people like different places. People like different kinds of food. Not everyone likes the same food that you like. Not everyone likes the same mint chocolate chip ice cream flavor, right? Obviously. But that doesn't compute in the narc brain. In the narc brain, good, bad, winner, loser. I'm the winner. I like mint chocolate chip. You're the loser. You like butter pecan. Now, to a healthy brain, that makes absolutely no sense, because like, that's not good and bad. That's not win-lose. You can't argue that an ice cream flavor is better than another, because we have different taste buds and different preferences. But they will actually argue with you that no, mint chocolate chip is superior, and I'm going to tell you that you're wrong. And like, they are actually not joking. So when you see any of these things on a profile, again, look for the cluster of narc signs. This is just one sign, but that's a flag to me. Like, let me look for a little more info here and see if some other flags pop up, because they probably will. All right, so they might say things like, I only drink good wine. And that's another thing that's purely preference. You have expensive wine, you have cheap wine, But wine is really just about what flavors you personally like. You might like a bottle that's $10 and not like a bottle that's $100 based on your taste buds. They don't care about your taste buds. They care about the black, white, winner, loser stuff. So you get that kind of snobby pretentiousness in there of, again, having to put someone or something down because they're so insecure to feel better about themselves. So your wine is bad. So my wine is better than your wine. Your wine's down here, mine's up here. Oh, good. I can feel so much better about myself because you suck. So if you suck, that must make me good. So this is also the distorted thinking. A healthy person understands that someone else sucking doesn't make them good. It just means the other person sucks. There's no relationship. I don't look better if I'm standing next to someone who sucks at something. If I suck at it too, it's still going to be obvious. If I'm learning to roller skate and the person next to me is just flailing on the ground, but I'm barely moving and I'm clinging to the wall, I don't look better because the other person is on the ground. I still look just as bad. That's objective reality. Objective reality is something narcissists don't understand. So they're always trying to push someone over because they think in their distorted brain, if you're flailing on the ground, I'm going to look a lot better clinging to the wall. I'm going to fool everybody. They're going to think that I'm amazing. So that's the whole basis for the good, bad, feeling superior kind of stuff, is they're really trying to push people over so that they can feel superior. So we also get pretentiousness, and you can kind of see how this is already happening. Whenever you put something as a good and a bad, you run into pretentiousness. I only drink good wine. I only go to good bars. I only go to good restaurants, right? So we have the snobbery, the pretentiousness, and the one thing over the other is really the same kind of a thing. But the pretentiousness goes a little farther. We get into pretend interests, where they'll fake an interest, or they'll have a very shallow interest they don't know much about. That's something most people have never heard about that sounds hard. That's the only requirement. It has to sound hard, and it has to sound vague and what is that? And if you ask them to explain it, they won't explain it because the power is in other people not understanding it. So they'll say, everything vintage. Everything vintage. What does that mean? Okay? Break that down for me. What does everything vintage mean? Realistically, tell me. Because if you really have everything vintage, you are an Amish person. And I don't think you're really an Amish person. So that probably means that you have a record player, you spend a lot of money, instead of just getting the iTunes, you're ordering records and they're doing all this because, again, the pretentiousness has an implied sense of I'm up here, you're down here. So if you don't own a record player, oh, you're so mainstream. You're such a loser. I'm such a winner because I'm pretentious and I went out and bought a record player. I'm so much better than you are. You suck. You listen to MP3s. You download stuff from iTunes. Lame. So all of this stuff, at the core of it, is just the narcissistic's values. Because their brain works differently than a normal brain, and that gives them values that healthy people don't have. And this is one of them. So the pretentiousness, the everything vintage, and if you ask them, there's no substance to it. If you're well, why everything vintage? They won't be able to back it up with anything that really makes any sense. They'll say something well, because it's the best. Or, because I'm not just one of these pedestrian, normal people. It's all about being special. But again, special only matters because winners are special, losers aren't, right? So that's another sign, is the pretentiousness, or, oh, I don't listen to mainstream music. I only listen to 18th century Scandinavian cowboy folk music that was reinterpreted by sheep herders in the 1970s. Okay, and what? How did you even find out about that? And it's not something they care about. It's not something they know about in depth. They Google this stuff and then they memorize a little description so that they can go tell people this at parties. But if you challenge them, they don't have anything to back this up. It's not like this is their great love in life. It's like a veneer that just falls through. And again, well, you don't know about the sheep herders in the 1970s who reinterpreted this music, so you're a loser and I'm a winner, yay for me, yay. But they don't understand, again, reality, because in reality, people don't like pretentiousness. People don't like bullies who put other people down. People don't like people who look down their noses at, oh, that bottle of wine isn't over $75. Oh, wow, I guess you don't like good wine, huh? The way that I do. No one likes that person. Even other narcissists don't like that person, okay? So they don't realize the reality of it the way that healthy people are just kind of like repelled by these things. But these are small signs that I look for. So if you don't have a lot of information to go on, I'm going to look at, are they saying something like, I love wine, or I love red wine, or I love like deep full-bodied wine because I like the flavor of it, and that just is tasty to me, and I like chocolate ice cream because that's my favorite flavor, and I like the color green because that's my favorite color. That's like normal, healthy. I'm not putting anyone down. I'm just telling you what I like. But if I say I only like good favorite colors, the rest of the colors suck, then there we go. Now again, you want to look for clusters because this stuff is popular to say. Why? Because there's so many narcissists out there that sometimes people just see this and they copy it and they think, okay, to fit in, I guess I have to say the same kind of thing. So you want to look for like a cluster, but that's just a few of the thousands of things that I'll tell you some more tips, because really, I mean, there are thousands, and when you just look at that one thing, you're like, oh, that's a tiny thing. Who cares that they like expensive wine? But when you look at it, that's the tip of the iceberg. There's an iceberg of narcissism under that little comment of good wine over bad. You know, bad wine sucks. Well, what is bad wine? Because no one can define what bad wine is, you know, unless you're going to define it by price, in which case you're saying I only buy expensive things. Because I mean, I think that sounds dumb to only buy expensive things. Why would you do that? Isn't it smarter to buy good price? Like, people have coupons because they want to find good prices. That's not to say, like, people can have preferences. Like, they can say, I love Porsche cars because I like how they're made, I like how they drive, I like how they look, and that's their preference. That's okay, but that's different than saying I only drive expensive cars. Okay, so I know these are subtle differences, but again, they indicate a tip of the iceberg. That when you start seeing it, and it's a relief, really, because it all makes so much sense. You don't have to spend all this time like trying to figure people out. It becomes apparent so much faster. And again, you don't want to jump to conclusions from like one thing that person said, but it's a big flag. When I see any of these, I might ask some questions and then see, is there really something under that? Or is this just superficial ego, putting people down, bullying people stuff? And then look for other signs as well. And again, this is just what I do. You know, if you want the official diagnosis, you got to pull that person into your therapist with you, pay for the session. And not all therapists even like diagnosing narcissists. Sometimes they don't want to because the narcissists get really mad and they can't always help them. especially when they're raging. So sometimes the therapists don't even want to diagnose them. So good luck with that. But again, I can't officially diagnose people simply because of the laws that we have. So that is just what I personally do when I see these little flags pop up and my thought process on that. So I hope that was interesting because I have a lot of people asking me, like, how do you spot these people? Because that is a concern, especially for people who have been damaged and harmed from narcissists. They were tricked once and they get really afraid. Like, what if I'm just fall for this again and my life is destroyed again? So it's a very real concern. And I think it's good to learn everything you can about it. And that would be both from like a therapist and like reading books of like the academic books. But what I'm talking about is just the real world stuff that I see that's not in books, but to me is how this stuff manifests. And so I'm going to give you probably some more tips in some upcoming videos, but I hope that was helpful. And it's a really interesting topic. There's so much I could say about it, but for now I'm going to keep it just at these little tips. And this is not really something that I do in my coaching. My coaching is goal-focused, action-focused for changing your life, self-development, all that good stuff. So if you've been harmed by a narcissist or something like that, you'd want to talk to a therapist about that. But thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, comment. Interested to hear if you have any tips that you have found for narcissists, for identifying them in your life. Okay, so talking in the third person, big tip off for narcissists. Great guy, fun to be around, family oriented, blah, blah, blah. He's talking in the third person. He's also complimenting himself. People who compliment themselves, who tell you, I'm a very handsome man, or he is a handsome man. There you have two in one sentence, third person and complimenting himself. That's a couple right there. Here's another one, looking for a girl that laughs at my jokes. Well, if you're funny, I think everyone would laugh at your jokes, and if you're not, I don't think anyone would. But again, that's living in reality. Narcissists don't. So what that really means is I'm looking for someone who will lie to me and tell me that I'm funny, even though I'm not. And this is something that narcissists want and need in their relationship. They need someone to lie to them, and that's basically, they're setting that up from the start. This is how this is going to go down. If we go out, you're going to have to laugh at my jokes, even if they suck. I just need someone to make fun of other people with. It's so classic. I mean, this is narcissism at the basis of it, which is to put people down to feel better. And you might read something like that and think, oh, he's just kidding. That's a joke. But why is that funny? Why is that a joke? It's really not funny. You know, if he put in here the physical equivalent, looking for someone to beat people up with, would that be funny? No. So these people are telling you who they are. You just have to listen, and it's spelled out in black and white or yellow and white on Bumble right there for you. If you choose to read it, it's all right there. Okay, then we have approval seeking, compliment fishing. I'm 6'3". Is that good? I mean, I'm reading this off the screen right now. So that is literally looking to total strangers to say, oh my gosh, look at you. Oh, wow, wow. 6'3". Well, two thumbs up to you. That's what they want from the internet. Okay, now we have a main photo using a childhood picture, which goes back to narcissists are actually still children because they've stopped developing emotionally. And so putting a childhood picture would normally be seen as very creepy, not socially appropriate. It's just super, super creepy, right? But that's why they do it. Number one, because they really feel that they are a child still. And number two, they want the compliments. They want people to say, oh, what a cute picture of you, because they're all about the attention and the compliments. And also, narcissists have very weak emotional intelligence. So they're not able to have that empathy and emotional intelligence to realize that putting that picture is going to make people be like, why is there a child on here? This is creepy. Oh my gosh, someone should report this. Instead, they just are so self focused on, I want attention. I want to be told that I was a cute kid. I'm so special. I'm so cute, that they can't see past that to have the empathy for how the other person will see it. So that's one reason for the childhood photo. Another one is having the main photo with their mom. Narcissists are enmeshed with their families. They're not like their own separate person. They're like stuck together with their family that they grew up with. And often their parents, or one parent at least, will almost threaten them. Like, if you're going to give a significant other more attention than me, then you can forget it. I'm going to abandon you. And because of that, they feel this pressure to put their parent in their main photo and maybe even say something like, mom comes first. And they're serious. They want you to know your place. This is not healthy. This is not normal. This is how narcissistic families work. So that's another sign, is having the parent right there in the main photo.